Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eunice Chidinmaimo. As you already know, if you're new here, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you stay, I hope you subscribe, and if you're coming back here, your family, thank you so much for always coming back and for always supporting me. Today we're going to talk about something that I just got to realize from a happening in the past couple of days. Let's get straight into this. So recently, Nigerian actress Tonto Dike made a decision that a lot of people considered very mature and very commendable. She reunited her son with his father. Now, if you know anything about their history, you know it hasn't always been peaceful. There has been controversies, public disagreements, interviews, like she has a whole YouTube about this thing with receipts, accusations, the whole internet drama package over the years. So when people saw that reunion happen, many were genuinely happy for her. It looked like it looked like growth, it looked like healing, it looked like maturity. But then there's something. The father of her son is now married or has been married to Roslyn. Years ago, Roslyn had publicly said in an interview that she and Tonto Dike were friends, they were family, not just casual friends or family friends and all. And they were close, and they were connected. But just a few days ago, Roslyn came out to say something completely different. She said they were never friends. She said those things were said for PR, and the internet exploded. People were angry, people were dragging, people were saying all sorts. People digged out her old videos, her old interview where she said they were friends. People were also waiting, not just waiting, anticipating. They were waiting for Tonto Dike because you know Tonto Dike. Tonto Dike was known for responding, for clapping back, for retaining energy, matching fire with fire. So the public expectation was almost like they were telling Tonto Dike, please drop this your Christianity for a moment and answer her properly. Then you can go back to being born again later. You know, they were telling Rosalie, you're so lucky Tonto Dike has done this and done that, she has changed. But if you think of all of this, it does not even make any sense. But that was the energy online. People wanted drama. They wanted the old version of Tonto Dike. They wanted entertainment. But something interesting happened. She didn't respond. She stayed quiet. And suddenly, people started calling her boring. Ah, this, you're now boring. You're now too soft. You're now this and that. Like they didn't like it anymore because what? They didn't get entertainment. And that's what really struck me because this is the part nobody tells you about healing. Healing can look boring. When you're used to chaos, peace feels boring. When you're used to reacting, self-control feels boring. When you're used to drama, maturity feels boring. But boring does not mean weakness. Boring does not mean fake. Boring does not mean suppressed. Sometimes boring is evidence that something inside you has changed. Sometimes boring is growth. Sometimes boring is discipline. Sometimes boring is choosing peace over ego. And let's be honest, it is much easier to react than to restrain yourself. Anyone can shout, anyone can insult, anyone can retaliate. But it takes a different level of emotional work. Hmm. It takes a different level of emotional work to pause, to wait, to stay, to do the breathing exercise and decide and say to yourself, this is not who I am. This is not me anymore. This is not boring. This is powerful, you know? And That emotional work you've done is power, is strength. And I also want to say something very important here. We should not ridicule Rosalind. We don't know her full reality. We don't know her emotions. We don't know the pressure she may be experiencing. Human beings are complex. Situations are layered. And sometimes people speak from their own perspective, their own angle, the way they see things from their own parts, their own hearts or their own truths, even when it contradicts what was said before. So this is not about choosing sides, right? This is about observing growth, because healing is not a competition. Healing is personal. And in this situation, what stood out was not who was right or who was wrong. It was the response, or rather, the lack of response from Tonto Dike. That was what stood out. Real healing is often invincible. It looks like no replying to messages you normally would reply to. Healing looks like walking away from arguments. It looks like letting people misunderstand you. I just learned that one recently. It looks like choosing silence when your ego wants noise. It looks like outgrowing reaction that once felt natural. And from the outside, it can look boring, right? But internally, it can be the hardest battle you have ever fought. Because healing is not about performing goodness, it's about becoming different. So if you are in a season where you where your life feels quiet, your life feels less dramatic, less reactive, less chaotic, maybe you're not becoming boring, right? Maybe you're becoming healed. And that is something to be proud of. Yeah. People might call you boring, but you're not. You're not. You're just healing. You're healed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think healing can look boring? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you in my next one.